everyone. I am the man behind the voice, and you know my name by now, I hope. And if not, I am CR Powers. And I do have to wear the glasses because it's company policy. Anyway, um, I was thinking the other day about a D&D campaigns, and what I was thinking about was, hmm, it'd be really interesting to see a campaign sheet, something that helps you along, something that's easy to pick up, but that has layers to it. And so what I've done is I've taken a design thing I got for free online, and I use it to actually make these sheets. And I made myself and the site a campaign sheet, which basically what it does is it allows anybody who picks it up to put in their name of their campaign, to add the characters, add the uh, you know, build a whole campaign. And it's just not one sheet, it's like a few sheets. You have the basic format, like squares all over the place, basic questions: what happened, why did it happen, in terms of like building your campaign, how did it happen, where did it take place, yada yada yada. You have the vast majority of questions you've got to answer. uh, what happened to the story, the beginning, the middle, and the end. You have to explain about your story, what you want to happen. That's the first idea. Sorry, I burped a little bit. And the second sheet is, it is bubbles. You know, the bubble formats where you have the bubble, you can put text into it, and then that next bubble comes down, and you get my point. You use these bubbles. And so let's say the first bubble is the beginning, the second bubble is the middle, and the last bubble is the end. All right, that's quite easy to remember, and it's very simple. But let's say your characters deviate from that path. Okay, that works because it happens. I mean, you can't just expect your story, or your campaign, your story, whatever, to actually just go run by run. It's going to take turns, it's going to take twists depending on what the characters and the players decide to do. So let's say one character decides to deviate from the path. He's a bad guy. He kills an NPC, massacres the crap out of him, and the people of that town get together and try to go after him, right? Well, that would be another ring in that whole bubble plan. There'd be another ring. Not a ring. There'd be another bubble that explains what would happen during that line. And you see, you branch it off. You have the three bubbles, and then you branch off the rest, telling you what you could do during this situation, what you could do during this situation, and it just stems out to this big network of bubbles. By doing this, it allows for complexity. It allows for more ideas, designs. It doesn't have to be specific to that particular situation I described, but it can be, you know, along the same lines of what this is here, what these three are here, what this is here. You can have another one over here, another bubble that explains all these things that you can do or you can choose to do. And by doing that, you have this whole map of what your basic campaign is. Might be hard to do, so it'll take a while. And so you have all this stuff. You can choose from. You can choose to go here and do this, and by doing that, it keeps it within the parameters of what the player's campaign can be, and so it doesn't deviate too much from the specific design that you as a player want to achieve during this whole experience. So you can redirect the players to go here and here and here without really trying, and without being a bad DM or storyteller or whatever. You can lead them and let them make their own decisions, but they can come back to it because there's like these bubbles that really help along the lines of determining it. And if people as DMs are not familiar with doing this, and they don't know this by heart, as a DM master who's been going along and playing more games and stuff, it actually leads you to do it without actually having to take the time and experience of doing it as a DM, learning lots and having all this experience of playing such and such campaigns and such and such and such. And so it's really easy to pick up and but it's really, you can define it well. You can master it really well. You can have this whole experience where it seems one thing, like it's really simple, clear cut, and then you come back to it later and you realize, oh, this is actually more experience now that I am more experienced, and I can add new layers to it, and I can add to the bubbles, blah 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 blah. You see, it really deviates in itself, and it just by extension, it adds this whole layer, and it adds complexity. It adds also simpleness without being too rough and tumble. Because I found that D&D is maybe this is just me, but I found that D&D when you're making a campaign, you have to do it by hand. Well, I've never made a campaign myself, but you have to do it by hand, and you have to like find all the bit points, and it takes hours and hours and hours. And so I decided, instead of doing all that, we're gonna just we as the company, as our Aurelia, we're gonna just take this and have it so that people can choose what their campaign wants to be. It'll be really simple, really quick. Well, a lot quicker than actually writing it all down and like planning ahead. You can do it really quickly, and it's there. You can look back over it and like, oh, we can do this and this and this. You know, it's a whole draft of what you can do, and you can deviate from your own plans or whatever, but it's there to look at, to hold, and to actually have. But my big concerns for this is that that it will be really hard for me to do, because I have a printer, but my Flash, whatever, the software that lets you do PDFs, it's a bit haywire right now, so I have to do it a little more difficult. I'm gonna have to print it out and rescan it into the computer, and you know, maybe I'll be able to get somebody to make it a PDF for me, but I sure can't do it by myself. It's just too much work. But if I do bring if we sorry, if we actually have a book that comes out, like a core book, a core rule book, whatever, I'll have the sheet and I can add it into it in a later chapter or whatever, and it'll be there. One more thing to add, right? One more thing to add to the tabletop rules. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I really want this to work, so I've gotta get people to help me. I've gotta really strive to do it, because if I don't, it'll just die, tank under. But I think that's all the thoughts I had into it, people. Thanks to everyone for friending me and subscribing, and comment, rate, subscribe, and please don't stop. Bye.